Hey guys, so I am going to show you how to create special effects in your photos using Photoshop. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File and then Open, and I'm going to find my images, which I have them right here on my desktop. So there's my first image. And so I want to remove this light that you see here the same way that I did it when I removed the stool in Levitation. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock the layer over here and then File, Place Embedded, my backup layer. There we go. And I'm actually going to switch these over here so that the layer that I'm going to use is on top. Remember that you have to rasterize your layer. And then add a layer mask and use the eraser to remove the light. And if you feel like you need to, you can auto align the layers, but you're basically going to follow all of the same instructions that we used when we did the Levitation photos. So I'm going to get in there nice and close. Okay. All right, great. Now I'm going to zoom out. Okay. So there's my image. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to go into my special effects and add them in. So you'll add in that special effect image the same way that you add in any image by using File, Place Embedded right here. And then I'm going to go to my special effects folder. Yours may show up in download since you are downloading them from the Google Classroom folder. So I'm going to go into Fire and then Digital Fire. No. That's not what I wanted. I wanted just fire. And I'm going to scroll until I find the one that I want. Okay, and this is the one that I want. So I'm going to go to File, Place. Okay, and it's hard to see what it's going to look like because it completely covers the whole photo. So I'm going to come over here onto my layer panel and I'm going to select, instead of normal, we're going to set it to screen, and you can see your photo comes through the overlay. And I'm going to hold Shift to resize, move it kind of to the spot where I want. I want it to be smaller than that. Okay, and then press Enter when I think I'm done. All right, and that looks pretty decent, and if I wanted to, I could stop there. But what I am going to do is I'm going to right-click on the layer and duplicate the layer, and then I'm going to add what's called a Gaussian blur to it. So I'm coming up here at the top to Filter, and then I'm going to go down to Blur, and then Gaussian blur. And you can see like it automatically adds a bunch of blur onto it. I don't want quite that much. So I'm going to lower it down. But I think that gives a pretty cool effect. When you add in a little bit of blur, it makes it look a little bit more realistic. And you can do that a bunch of times if you want to. So I can come back here and duplicate the layer again. And then I can go right back up to Filter and then Gaussian blur and then add more or less blur depending on what I'm looking for. And I think that looks pretty good. And then the last thing that you're going to want to do is you might need to adjust your color of your object. So the color, the light on my face is a little bit more red than the light that's coming out of the fire. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go up to, I'm going to make sure I'm on my right layer, my top layer, and I'm going to go up to Image, And then I'm going to go to adjustments and to hue and saturation. That's color. Okay, and now I'm going to play with these sliders until I get the color a little bit more like what I want it to be. You can play with any of these. So mine was just a slight adjustment, but yours might be a big adjustment if you use a different color light than what the overlay you have going on is. But then I'm going to press OK. And that's it. I'm going to leave it at that. I probably will pull this image back into Lightroom and make some adjustments to my skin. But other than that, I think I'm pretty much done. So I would come up to File, and then I would save as, and I would make sure I can save it to my desktop. Make sure the first way that you save it is a PSD, so Photoshop format right here, and then press save. Wait for it to be done saving, and then I'm going to do File, Save As again, keep the same name, but then change it to a JPEG, and press save. You want the quality to be high, and then that's it. You're all set.